Back with Bobby and JJ Radio. We have Ms. Deborah Innocenti Jones and David Jones. They're lawyers, and they're a little bit outside the box lawyers, talking about that a little bit, of how they're breaking the mold of what is the stagnant and old ways of doing law. So we were speaking. So you're these big law firms, right? And where it's just kind of everyone's doing the same thing, different year or decade, right? Mm-hmm. So what made you guys split off, or what was the sign where you knew for sure that the times were changing and you had to kind of change it up on your own?
Sometimes I feel like it's like geese migrating south for the winter. I mean, it's just like you suddenly at some point you're like, I just can't. I've got to do something different.
Right.
And
besides social media, are there any other experiences that you can share that are just kind of you feel that the legal industry needs to adopt, or has the resistance of change to?
Yeah, I mean, let me start this, and then I'm going to pass it off to David, because I'm tech dense. You know, a lot of things I focus on are the tech. Automating what can be automated, because, when time is what you bill, lawyers are disincentivized to be more efficient. But that's not fair for the client. Sure. And it actually, when you really get down to brass tacks, it's not really the lawyer, it's best for the lawyer.
Right.
So there's a lot of kind of infrastructure pieces of that. But, one of the things, and David's championed this a lot, is kind of really having a code of ethics and value systems and all.
Well, and I would say the thing is, as Deborah and I spent, I don't know, a year and a half probably talking about whether we were actually going to be crazy enough to do this before we decided to do it. And we spent lots and lots of time, in restaurants and conference rooms, kind of talking through, okay, what would this look like if we wanted to what would this look like if we were going to actually do it? And I think the thing that allowed us to sort of feel a level of confidence to sort of actually, jump off the diving board and hope that there was at least some water down there in the pool, was the fact that the longer we got to talking, the more confident we felt in sort of the personal values that each of us would bring to the business. Sure. And one of the things that we try really hard to do with the clients that we work with is encourage them to do the same thing. Is really get to know the people that are on your team, because that's been one of the things that, for both of us has allowed, I think, us to push through the challenging times and to, stick to things stick to our core mission when, not great times have come, because they do in every business. For sure. And ours is no exception.
Having those core values and knowing that there's something bigger and there's a reason that you're doing it.
Yeah, and also having confidence that, my instinct on something, I think 99% of the time she's going to agree with it.
Right.
Well, and we'll
vice versa.
We'll have conversations with clients, and we often, it's not, we'll often have conversations and initial consultations with clients where we tell them that they don't need a lawyer yet. Or there's another way to solve that problem. I mean, it's not in our financial best interest to do that.
Because most lawyers would take the job and charge their fee.
Yeah, I'm not. Put your coin in the slot, and I'll spell out the work. But we really try to think about what's the ethic. What are the values of the client? What do they want? And are we the tool in the toolbox that should be reached for at this particular moment?
Well, if you can walk us through a client working with you, what they should expect, and how it's different working with you than with the traditional law office.
So one of the things that we do, and we, you mentioned we work with at Geekdom, we are very much paperless. So there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of risk for us having papers lying
So you can forget
around.
your pen at home if you want.
Yeah. So oftentimes, if you call us, you can book a conference with us, fill out all your information online, sign your engagement letter with us online, pay your retainer with us online. We usually have a sit down first where we talk about what your goals and what your legal issues are, send an email that describes what we talked about, kind of prioritize legal services and estimates about what you would spend, so that clients, when they get invoices from us, it's never a surprise. And so we, work on how to tackle things efficiently.
Sure, and then the other part of it, I think, is that we really are, we're both sort of teachers at some level, I think, at heart. And spending time with the people that come in the door with us, talking about kind of who they are and why they're starting their business. And, if it's a team of people, we spend time having what people often will remark to us kind of feels like premarital counseling.
Gotcha.
Because we're talking about, values and like you're kind of having a baby. How are you going to raise this baby? Where's it going to go to exciting and
Right.
all of
So
those
really
kinds of
just
things.
educating everyone from start to finish so no one's in the dark and everyone's pretty much involved.
Yeah.
And one of the exciting things that we're doing is, and it's become one of our partners, Justice for Me. It's a company called Justice Gap Solutions, where they do financing for legal costs, so that folks who can't get free legal services because they make too much money, but can't come up with retainers because they make too much, are able to get interest-free legal financing in order to get legal work done. And what we do is lower our rates so that essentially we eat the interest costs.
Understand.
And it helps a lot of entrepreneurs who are about to get funds, whether it's through an investment check or through actually getting contracts, going. They're able to traverse that short-term gap in order to get off the ground.
Well, can you talk about some of the things that you specialize in?
You want to go first?
Oh, gosh. Well, I can say this, that when we hired, so we've hired some interns in the past, and we have a law student that we're working with now who we're hoping will come to work with us after graduation. And I mean, we work with everything from, people in, like Deborah mentioned, the music business. We have a couple of clients that are on, reality TV stars. We work with big tech companies. We work with financial companies. We work with, startups in more kinds of businesses than we could possibly count. And that variety is one of the things that makes what we do, so much fun. That plus the fact that being around the people that we're around, they're all about pushing the thing that they're doing forward every single day.
Sure.
And it's so energizing to be around people that's what they're doing. They come in every day and they're committed to leaving at the end of the day with the project they're working on in a better place than it was when they started. Nobody is punching a clock, and working around those people is just immensely rewarding.
What advice would you give with your unique purview to to someone that's about to do a startup?
I think probably the biggest advice I would give is focus on the business first, and figuring out what it is you want to do. I think people sometimes get so focused on putting the cart before the horse. They'll be designing their logo and thinking about what type of entity structure that they're going to have, and all of this stuff that it's like, wait, this is not what you want to be spending your money on. You need to be thinking about what's the core business of what you're doing. And really thinking through that piece of it before you start doing all of this other stuff. And my sweet spot is the tech part of things. So I see in particular a lot of tech startups, and one of the most dangerous places to be in is to be a single founder that doesn't know a lot about tech and wants to outsource the tech product.
Give me an example.
So let's say you've got an idea for a SaaS application, a software as a service application, subscription model, and you decide you want to do this, but you want to hire someone else to build it, and you're not really working hands-on and learning the tech. I mean, you don't have to start out as a tech person, but you got to learn it. You need to,
because you're going to have to manage these people, and you're going to have to keep them accountable, and you're going to have to make sure that the product is what you paid for.
Exactly. There's so many different ways to build something.
Sure.
And if you build the foundation wrong, you will never be able to survive. I mean, it's like building a skyscraper on a mobile home platform. I mean, if you build that foundation wrong and don't know how to question the specs and how to work with the developers, back end and front end, and strategize that.
Bob, go kudos.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a friend that I think this happened to, exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. He wasn't in tech, but he had the money to source something, and
It
didn't
is
go through.
Didn't
bad,
work.
yeah. Even basic things like the common things that I see is someone will hire an app developer, and the developer
Like he
will
did.
build and they'll build the app on their own developer account instead of creating a new account for the business for whom they're developing. And so what happens if the app gets traction? You can't move all of those users over to the new account, so you've got to re-onboard it. There's so many kind of fundamentals where things can go wrong if you don't have a technical co-founder.
So business first, no matter what.
Business first.
Yeah, and I guess I would add one thing
Sure.
to that. It's that this is the first business that either one of us have ever started.
Sure.
And
I had a very viable lemonade stand when I was a
Sorry.
kid, so I
Very successful.
Okay, sorry. The highs that you will have when you're doing your own thing are incredibly high.
Sure.
The lows you will face, the
For sure.
moments of self-doubt, they are frightening.
Right.
And those two things can happen within 20 minutes of each other, multiple times on the same day.
Right.
And so you just need to be prepared for the idea that it is not like working
For someone.
in a company job.
Yeah.
You got to be ready to not get too far ahead of yourself when things are getting high,
Right.
and to have sort of that core set of values that are at the heart of your business when you get low, because that's what carries you through.
And Geekdom's Fermented Friday is really helpful for that.
Keeping you grounded.
Yeah, keeping you grounded.
I love it. Well, for more information about this awesome dynamic duo, you can check out their website, which is INNOCENTIJONES.com. That's InnocentiJones.com. If you need anything from startup advice to corporation,
If you want to be a reality TV
the
star.
reality TV star, obviously, or in music, but check them out. That's InnocentiJones.com.